I'll watch some TV. It'll help me to relax.
Welcome back to the Ren and Stimpy recap. As the reboot is hopefully coming out next year, I figured I'd make a little wish list of what I, as a fan, want from it.
And with these hands, I hope the fate of millions.
So first of all, I think the show should release on the 11th of August next year, which will be the 33rd anniversary of the original Ren and Stimpy show. Let's be honest, people do not care about Ren and Stimpy in 2023, and I doubt that will change in a year's time. Now, that's not saying that the show doesn't have fans. I and many others have a great interest in both the original show and the reboot, but the Ren and Stimpy fandom is still really small, and since the anniversary is really the only time where a more general audience talk about the show, like on Twitter and stuff, I think it would be the perfect time to premiere the reboot. Since Comedy Central is doing the reboot and they have the rights to the original show, or that might just be in the UK, I'm kind of confused about that whole thing. But if possible, what I would do is have a little marathon of the best episodes of the original show leading up to the premiere. If they can legally do this, I'm actually not sure how the whole UK-US show rights work. Actually, maybe scratch that, because if the show is gonna be on like Paramount Plus, it might not air like at all on TV. But anyway, just releasing it on August 11th would be like the perfect timing, because that's when people are like searching for Ren and Stimpy and stuff. But of course, it's not only about getting people to watch the first episode, the show needs to be good as well. So it's a very weird situation where the show is supposed to come out next year, but we like basically know nothing about it. We haven't even seen a screenshot. There was a supposed leaked storyboard a while back that yours truly retweeted, but that turned out to be fake, so I can basically wish for anything here since we know so little. And I think the most important thing is gonna be staying true to the characters. Now, of course, it has been more than 25 years since the last original episode aired, but most of the people who will watch the reboot are probably still gonna remember Ren and Stimpy. Now, I'm not totally against exploring new sides of the characters, especially if the show is gonna take place, 30 years later, in 2024. But any major changes are gonna be a big risk. Ren and Stimpy, while still complex characters, are at their core pretty simple. Stimpy is dumb and caring, and Ren is schizophrenic and mad. I just really don't want these core traits of the characters to be sacrificed for something lesser. Something I also want them to stay true to is the tone of the original show. Now, the main reason I'm bringing up this point is because of the other reboot of the show, Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon. I haven't even gotten to rewatch the show, as I'm right now only on season 4 on my retrospective for the show, but if there is one thing that ruined that version of the show for me, it's the tone. I have no problem with adult jokes, they were used in the original as well. But APC, in my opinion, just took it all way too far and just made everything really sexual and violent just for the sake of being sexual and violent. Like there's no subtlety to it. Ren's dialogue in Stimpy's Fan Club, an episode that aired on Nickelodeon, is infinite more times more effective for me than Ren just like murdering animals in APC. Just having every punchline be sex or gore is really disappointing considering how much the original show could accomplish with a kid-friendly rating on Nickelodeon. And putting aside that side of the show, the original show was always very charming to me. Even when some really weird stuff was going on, there was always a vibe in Ren and Stimpy that pretty much completely got lost in Adult Party Cartoon in my opinion. Now, it was announced as an adult reboot, which is like the dumbest thing ever considering how the last one went, but I'm hoping this just means it will have a slightly higher age rating and have some more story potential instead of just being APC Part 2. Like, I want it to be Simpsons, not Family Guy. But judging by Comedy Central's roster of shows, yeah, it's not looking too good. But cutting in here from the future, it's the show is going on Paramount Plus, which is a really good sign in my opinion, because Paramount Plus has, you know, a lot of kid cartoon. It's not like going on Comedy Central's own thing, whatever that is, but yes, please, please, please don't be APC Part 2. Now, if there is something I don't want them to do with the reboot, it's reboot episodes. Now, I don't think they would do this, but I can just imagine the first season being the same stories from the original first season, just redone, and that would be so disappointing that, you know, let's not even talk about it and just say that it's not a possibility at all. There is a slight possibility they might use some of the stories from the comics for the new episodes. This is also a huge no for me. While I haven't gotten around to reading them yet, I still own most of the comics, and so I got those stories already. It would be like they made new comics which were just the already existing episodes. I just want new stuff. Now, while I do want to see original stories, there are things I would like to see them re-explore. Mainly themed episodes, and more specifically, the Return of the Space episodes. Commander Hoek and Kid and Stimpy is a series I would love to see back. If there is anything that would make the reboot feel like the original, is exploring similar themes, such as space. I would like to see at least a couple of them in the first season. Now, for how many episodes we are gonna get, I think the best indicator is gonna be another show that was rebooted recently by Comedy Central, which is Beavis and Butthead. Both seasons of the show has 12 half-hour episodes. South Park, which has been on Comedy Central for a long time, is 10 episodes per season. Comedy Central's latest cartoon, Digman, had 8 in the first season. So I think asking for 10 episodes is a reasonable expectation for the first season, which would of course be 20 11-minute episodes if there are no specials, kind of similar to the original run as well. Matter of fact, let's say 19 11-minute episodes and 1 double-length special. So, of the 19 normal episodes, I think 3 new space episodes with Commander Hoek and Cadet Stimpy would be great. It's the same number of space episodes that the first season of Ren and Stimpy, the original, had, and that season only had 12 11-minute episodes, so I think it's reasonable. One of the main reasons I think space episodes would be good for the reboot, just putting aside my personal bias for them, is that with the advancement of animation in the 32 years, these episodes could look so good. The already existing episodes are some of the best looking in the whole show, so it's a no-brainer that the new ones would have big potential just visual-wise. The same goes for Untamed World, which would also be cool to see return for an episode, although I don't know how much new ground there is to cover since they went back to that, exploring strange creatures theme, well, a couple of times in the Ren and Stimpy show. Storybook could also be good, maybe with a new version of the intro where Stimpy reads the bedtime story to tie it all together. But for the themed episodes, it's really Commander Hoek and Cadet Stimpy I'm, hoping for. When it comes to the look of the show, I'm once again gonna become a conservative here and say that I want them to try to stay true to the old stuff. I think for the designs of Ren and Stimpy, it would be cool if they took some inspiration from both eras of the original show, although many fans probably just want to see the SpongeBob designs from the first season's return. Honestly, their designs are so different from episode to episode that I'm gonna be happy with anything that looks like the originals. Just please don't change them and mess them up. I can already see them trying to adapt them in some weird, round way. No, please don't do that. Speaking of characters, I would be really surprised if Ren and Stimpy were the only characters returning. From what I know, we basically know nothing about original voice actors for the other characters, but there is a list you could just go down and check off. I'd be surprised if Powdered Toastman didn't return. I don't feel like he's a character I need to have in another episode, but at least appearing for a gag is an expectation. Same goes for Muddy Mudskipper. With how much he appeared in the original show, it just feels like a given. Wilbur Cobb's voice actor Jack Carter sadly passed away in 2015, so therefore I would not want to see that character return, regardless of my feelings about the character. It just would feel weird. I would be very shocked if George Licker came back because of how synonymous he is with John Kay, who the people working on the reboot seems to really want to distance themselves from. Since Billy West is working on the reboot, and I at least hope doing voices for both Ren and Stimpy, the other characters he voiced are easy to make return. West has voiced Mr. Pipe, the salesman, and most importantly, Mr. Horse, who I think is the most likely character to return, next to the titular two, of course. Billy West's involvement in the show also gives me hope, since he declined to return for the first reboot Adult Party cartoon due to not liking the direction of the show. Since he had good judgment there, I'd like to think him returning to the new reboot means that it's better, but that is wishful thinking, it might just be because John K has no involvement this time around. While we have Billy West, it is concerning how many of the people behind Ren and Stimpy who were working on the reboot has quit. Bob Camp being the most notable one. He left because of creative differences and basically said that the show was gonna be bad. Now this might be a contradiction to my reasoning for West returning, but the show being bad is very subjective. Many people would call the Bob Camp-led era of the last 3 Ren and Stimpy seasons bad. It's really sad to see him leave though, as he was a big part of many of my favorite episodes. All in all, I'm just excited to get the reboot at all, and will most likely be happy even if all my wishes aren't fulfilled, because it's just nice to have new Ren and Stimpy content. Judging by the reaction to the announcement of the reboot, I'm in the minority, which is expected given the really bad reputation that John K has given the show with his terrible actions. Now, not to downplay that at all, but he is not involved with the show. Yes, he is the original creator, but there are so many talented individuals behind the original show, many of them hopefully returning to this reboot that he will not return to. He will not profit from it or be credited, and I think the fact that one of his victims are working on it says a lot. I think she has an infinite more of a right to have a say in this than some random on Twitter. But yeah, hopefully it's good. Really excited to see it, and no matter the quality of the reboot, you know I'm gonna be right here covering everything about it once it comes out.
Goodbye, folks.